Most people, when you mention franchise, think you gotta have $1 million for McDonald's to open. Like that's where everyone's mind goes. So it took, a little bit of a shift in mentality to look at it from a different perspective. And so I started listening to podcasts and came across your podcast as well, and reading a couple books on franchising, and really started to think it was a real possibility for us.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the latest edition of Fran Coach's Franchising 101 podcast. I am Tim Parmeter, founder and CEO of Fran Coach and your podcast host. Today, we have one of my secret favorite types of episodes. We have In Their Words, where we are going to get to talk to Fran Coach clients who have become franchise owners. We're going to hear all about their story, their journey looking at the franchises, the ups and downs along the way. And this one, we had a lot of kind of like roller coaster ride with this one, what they ended up choosing as a franchise and how that has gone so far. This has been just an amazing couple to work with, where I'm a little sad that they're I'm like an empty nester now. They're out of the house, they're onto their franchise, but really appreciate them taking some time to talk about their journey to this point. So that's next. First, quick reminder of who we are. Fran Coach is a national search firm dedicated to working with individuals like yourself interested in owning a franchise. We're partnered with over 600 franchises spanning about 70 different industries. Number one goal is to help get you properly educated on franchise ownership to determine if you should own one. If so, we're going to figure out what is your absolute best franchise to own. That is a little bit about us. Now let's get to our super fun guest today. All right, we are back here on the Franchising 101 podcast with not one, but two of my favorite people ever that I've had the pleasure of working with. Clearly one more than the other one, but we have Logan and Ashtin Smith joining us today from lovely Arlington, Texas. So, hey, gang, how we doing?
Hey.
We're doing pretty good.
Well, thanks. Remind me your address so I can send you your check for saying that. Saying that about us, and I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Well, there was only one of you two that I really like, and the other one tags along. And Logan, you want to take a guess which one we like and which one's a tag along? Yeah. So, as exactly. you have done the same thing as I have done. We have overachieved in the marital standpoint. So, that's right. We just smile and nod. So super cool for you guys to join us today. Thanks so much, and excited to chat with you guys about. This has been a fun journey to roll through with you guys, but give us a little pre-franchise scoop on Logan and Ashtin.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah. I was in education for 10 years. I taught deaf education, and then we had 3 young kiddos back to back to back, and so I decided to stay home and be a stay-at-home mom. So that's what I'm currently doing, and taking care of all of them. So it's a very busy job for me.
And we have 3 boys. How old are they?
We have 2 boys and a girl.
2 boys and a girl, right?
Yeah, 4, 3, and 1 year next week.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. Yes, that is a lot. So very, very cool. And you said, and I don't think you ever, or maybe I missed it. Like you did deaf education?
I did. So all my students were deaf.
Wow. Okay. So do you every now and then like do some like sign language at Logan when you get mad at him and he can't understand it? So
no, if he does know some of the inappropriate words, but no, I keep those maybe just in my head instead of showing them.
It's like any second language. The first thing you learn are the words you're not supposed to learn. So
exactly.
Same teaching our kids. So they're going to be talking about me, and I'm not going to know what they're saying. So
he's learning along with them.
Yeah, they're trying to.
I had somebody I knew years ago. When they had their first child, they wanted and there was somebody in their family that was deaf, so they were trying to teach them sign language right off the bat. And I think something like, is this more? Something like
more?
Okay, yeah. And so the little girl was on the swing, like little bitty, and she took her hands off to do more, and then fell and like
Oh no.
first trip to the ER was because of more. I know with that. So Logan, I guess we'll hear your story too. Give us a little scoop on give us a little scoop on you.
Yeah, I've worked in insurance and mortgage, and then most recently I've spent 11 years in account management and sales for financial technology. So yeah, I've had a good journey in this customer service and sales space. So yeah, it's been fun, but I was definitely looking to do something else, and it mainly had to do with the family, and my sales job had a lot of travel involved with it. It was just getting harder and harder to for our family, for me to be gone. So this was a good opportunity for us to do something together and be home more often. So
yeah, so I knew you had a lot of travel with that. So why look at franchise versus maybe, hey, maybe I just find another job where I'm not going all over the place? What was it about like having your own business that kind of intrigued you guys?
it was the idea of the flexibility and having something, be able to dictate your own schedule and be able to build something of your own to some extent. I think I've always been part of a team. I was an athlete, played baseball in the college. So just being part of a team and being able to have a system and something to follow was very appealing to me. And as far as franchising goes.
Gotcha. And then so you start thinking about this, how long from like, oh, maybe there's something with franchising. Did it take you a while to really actually get started on the search, or did you know pretty quickly that this was the path?
It took, well, I would say it was about a 1.5 year journey from the very, very beginning, because one of a franchise consultant that you reached out to me on LinkedIn about 1.5 years ago and planted the seed. And so I started doing some more research on franchising. I think everyone, or not everyone, but most people, when you mention franchise, think you gotta have $1 million or for McDonald's to open. Like that's where everyone's mind goes. So it took, a little bit of a shift in mentality to look at it from a different perspective. And so I started listening to podcasts and came across your podcast as well, and reading a couple books on franchising, and really started to think it was a real possibility for us. And then I had to sell Ashtin on it a little bit. It's kind of like, hey, I want to quit my job and open a business is not something that I think she ever thought would come about when we got married, but we both enjoyed it so far. So,
Ashtin, what were you thinking when all of a sudden, like that joker next to you comes and is like, hey, maybe I should quit my job and we should own a franchise? What went through your mind with that?
I think he kind of slowly planted the seed, and not just like, hey, I'm ready to quit my job and do this. It was kind of, hey, I heard about this. So, listening to some podcasts, and would just kind of talk about the things that he was hearing on the podcast or reading in the books. And so it wasn't straight up just, hey, what do you think about this? We should just jump in. So I think I was able to warm up to the idea, and I felt that if he did enough of the research and felt that was good for him, he wasn't going to just, jump in and not feel comfortable with that. And so I just trusted if he thought it was great for him to quit his job and do this, that I would just be along for the ride. And so far it's gone great. So
yeah, well, and you guys were great through the process of both. Maybe not every single call, like it was all three of us, but pretty darn close to that as we went through. So it does really help that whole process, because it's always a family business, right? And like Ashtin, I know you'll be involved, but there are times spouses are never involved in the business. But these are important conversations to be a part of, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to really just kind of know, like, if he's coming home and talking about things, I wanted to be aware enough to be able to maybe troubleshoot with him or talk with him about things. And so he had asked, how much do you want to be involved or not be involved? And so I wanted to be aware and know enough to kind of help out as needed. And then also just if anything ever happened and I needed to step in, I didn't want to go in completely clueless. I wanted to have some knowledge and stuff. So I'm probably helping more than I originally thought, but I think it's all things that I can hopefully handle while also keeping the kids at home, because I'll still be doing that as my main priority. But
yeah,
I think
absolutely.
it'll be a good fit.
Cool.
And I don't think sorry.
Oh no, go ahead, Logan.
And I was saying, we didn't really have an anticipation of how much she would be involved, but as we got into this and gone through the opening process with Mr. Appliance, like we've found, thankfully we make a pretty good team so far, because she is very good at a lot of the stuff that I'm not as good at, and she enjoys it. And so yeah, it's been fun to like have that dynamic in taking the home life and kind of applying the teamwork into a business. So we've enjoyed it so far.
Yeah. And that doesn't always work. So my wife and I have done a few things together and are again now. And like there's it's great when you have the complementary skills. And I know you guys do. Like mine and I sometimes there's certain things that we're both good at and both control freaks. So sometimes that's a little like, this is your sandbox and this is my sandbox, but you really have to be able to do that. And I always tell, like, no different than around the house. Like you got, like one does the dishes and one takes out the trash, right? Like if you can really kind of divide and conquer with that, then it works well. So and you guys have done a very good job with that from the beginning, which if we go back to the beginning and we get started talking, and again, you had looked at this a little bit, but if you can think back to kind of like any preconceived notions coming into this journey that you had that maybe like, oh, I thought it was going to be like this, but then it was something totally different. Is there anything like that kind of comes to mind?
It was interesting to just have this shift the perspective once we started talking to the owners, because they're the other owners in the companies. I think that's when it got, at least for me, that's when it got really real. Because in the beginning, you're hearing the great stuff about owning a business and what the company is trying to sell you, understandably. But yeah, when you start talking to the people, I think that was a little bit of a wake up call, but in a good way. Like just, hey, like this is not just a flip a switch and you're going to start making money. Like there is work involved. And so then talking to those people, you figure out what you want to do and what they're saying are the good, the bad, and the ugly of owning that type of business. So that I didn't quite expect that. That was a little bit of an adjustment period of just a wake up call, I guess, in that process. So
yeah, it's good because the owners don't, in some ways, like, well, they're certainly not compensated for having a conversation with you to talk to them, become a franchise owner. But if anything, existing owners they're going to be like borderline harsh sometimes because they're very protective of the brand, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and almost over the top, like, oh man, this is so hard. You got to work. So like, dude, calm down a little bit. It's not, but they don't want anybody coming in thinking it's easy, because if they do, or they're not going to work hard, they're not going to follow the plan, then it literally messes up their brand, right? So you guys will eventually be doing validation calls as well, right? Talking to like you guys, what you just went through, and you'll be doing the same thing, right? Like just, you want to make sure that person understands what they're getting into, because it's not the brand, it is your brand. Makes a huge difference. So do you remember back when we got to the point of, we introduced you to franchise, and I was literally scrolling back through my notes, and we've talked enough to where there's 27 pages of notes in my iPad on you guys. So we do the introduction of, here's the 3 franchises, and which is always kind of a fun call. It's probably always a little nerve wracking of like, oh my gosh, what's this dude got for us? Are we going to hate it? Are we going to love it? And sometimes the one that people hate on that call is the one they end up owning. But do you guys remember what you thought of the 3 back then?
I do. Mr. Appliance was who I said was number 1 on that particular day.
And he did not.
Not for him.
And which one do you guys own?
Mr.
Plumbing.
which proves what, Logan? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, yes.
Just go ahead and say it.
That's a
Yes,
good,
dear,
it's
you're
good
right.
Decisions.
Yeah.
Yes. But there was a lot of like that ranking changed like multiple times throughout this. So talk a little bit about that, like kind of roller coaster journey of, because I think there was almost times for you guys, it was the recency bias of which one did we talk to last? Like really kind of intrigued. How did you manage kind of the ups and downs of that?
I think a lot of it, yes, was, whoever we talked to most recently. And you might talk to one of the companies twice before you talk to the next company. And so sometimes you just have a little more information on one versus another. And I think that's kind of what happened with us with one of the companies, that we were ahead in some of them and a little further behind in one. And so it was harder for us to get caught up with that one to feel, a connection to this might be a good fit for us. And then just, each time we would talk, we would, sit and debrief afterwards, like, what'd you think about this? Or what'd you think about that? And so I feel like it just kind of, whichever one you had the most information on at the time was one that you felt the most that you knew about. So that was possibly the one that you could, feel was a good connection for us and a good fit for us. But I think a lot changed whenever we started doing those validation calls and talking to the people that were in the trenches and doing the things and actually living the day to day. And I think finding people, and he can talk about this even more, but that come from a world like we came from, of not anything in owning businesses or especially in the appliance repair, like that's not anything in our background. And so it's nerve-wracking going into something that you are completely clueless about. And so finding people who came from similar backgrounds to either him or myself, especially for him, to realize, okay, you came from this background as well, and you're doing it, you're successful. So maybe that means I can also be successful if we have, the similar backgrounds. So, and I think that was a big turning point for him when he found somebody like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the different timing of talking to each company, but like I said, you're doing those validation calls, like you might be doing the validation calls with one company, but you're still in we'll call it the honeymoon phase with the other company, so you haven't seen their true side yet or talked to people in the business, so it's kind of always shifting. And yeah, Ashton's absolutely right. I think Mr. Appliance, we were the furthest ahead, I would call it, with it. So we allowed the other companies to catch up. And then, I think the big turning point for me, for Mr. Appliance, like she said, was Bobby put me in contact with a new owner, like 6 months in, who came from software sales just like I did. And it was a light bulb going on talking to him. I'm just like, he did exactly what I'm doing and is in Texas, like just went through the opening process. So he's fresh on it. Like if he had any regrets or anything, he would be able to tell me. So yeah, and some of the people we talked to have been in the business for 10, 15 years. So it's a little different talking to someone who's gone through it more recently. So I think just be able to talk to the right people in the business as going through the validation was huge for us.
Yeah, it's such a impactful part of the process, and having that range of talking to somebody who's been doing it for 10 plus years is great, because you can kind of see what the business can build up to, right? But talking to that person about like the beginning is like me telling my 11-year-old back in my day I had to walk uphill in the snow both ways to school, right? Like, come on, no you didn't, right? And so getting that mixture of that is really key, right? And so, but you guys had a good experience with all three, and we were kind of we talk a lot on this show and with all our clients about home service and enhance, maintain, repair, which I 1000% stole from Neighborly years ago because they use that because they can make like the largest provider of home services in the world probably knows how to categorize those. So I'm dumb, but I ain't that dumb. So we really had kind of one of each, and there were some positives back and forth. I know one of the things for you guys with Mr. Appliance, like, how do I manage people doing things that you're not doing or not experienced with? So talk about how you guys kind of overcome that a little bit of like, oh, how can we do that? Because that was a big key. And I think a lot of people looking at that repair and those highly skilled things, that can be a concern. So how'd you guys work through that?
I think for me, and this plays into ultimately another reason why we chose Mr. Appliance is there was like 300 locations across the country, and all the owners you talked to said we're just a big family. Like we really we didn't even ask that. That was something they offered, so that was a huge selling point for us. So just being able to talk to them and say, yeah, hey, like this is what I did. I'm here to help your technician or your employees in any way you can. They have Facebook groups for the owners and the technicians, so the technicians can get on and have 300 plus people to ask questions to help. So it's not just that they were having to rely on me to answer how to fix a dishwasher, because we wouldn't be in business for too long if that was up to me. And that's just the overall resources and things that Neighborly and Mr. Appliance could offer were huge in helping us feel comfortable with that. So
now that you've gone through training, and not that you're going to go out and repair anything, but do you feel more comfortable about understanding the work that needs to be done than maybe you ever thought you would?
Absolutely. I've completed the training that the online training that the technicians can do to, if they're brand new or whatever. So I feel I could probably go out there and get some things done, but we don't want me doing that every day and all that. So yeah, I definitely know a lot more. I mean, that's a testament to Neighborly and the Mr. Appliance team of having the resources available to help us to feel comfortable with things like that.
Yeah. So if you're not fixing things, what are some of the things you are doing as an owner?
Getting the Mr. Appliance name out in the Hurst Euless Bedford area, doing networking, getting involved in the community, and doing a little bit of customer service as well. So starting off small, wanting to really understand everything in the business before we start trying to bring other people on and train them in some of the stuff that we're doing in the beginning. So yeah, a little bit of everything, which I enjoy, because I'm I don't want to be sitting at a desk all day looking at a computer screen. So just get out, talk to people, talk to the Home Depots or appliance stores, or other places where we can just, hey, we're new in that area and want to help our consumers to get their appliance fixed.
Yeah. Ashtin, you weren't necessarily really thinking you were going to be involved at all, just kind of like listening throughout this, but now you found yourself a little bit more involved. Talk about what that looks like and what are some of the things you've been able to kind of help out with.
Yeah, a lot of the things that are involved with the software that I can do when my kids are sleeping and things like that. So finalizing work orders and doing purchase orders for some of the parts and things like that I enjoy, organization and things like that. I'm very type A person. And so those are things he doesn't enjoy doing. And so I've taken those on that work, obviously well with my schedule, but things that just a lot of stuff on the computer, software stuff, and paperwork and things like that calms me.
Well, there's a lot of like any business, there's a lot more moving parts than people realize, and in this case, literally parts, right? But also the figurative ones of even like, like, hey, this technician needs to be over here at this time, and this one needs to be over there, and Logan, you need to be over there. Like it's having that support is like the kind of the person pulling the strings and running the show. And again, really, Ashtin, now you get to boss him around personally and professionally. So
yeah, tell him where he needs to go so he can make an appearance somewhere.
Yes.
Now I'm gonna leave that part up to him. That's all on him. He can be right to himself.
Yeah. So so I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here. Really, you started to do this, right? So somewhat obvious, but give us the 30-second elevator pitch on what is Mr. Appliance. Logan, why should we call you, and when should we call you?
Yeah, Mr. Appliance is a residential and commercial appliance repair company. We fix, your everyday appliances like your dishwasher, refrigerator, washer, dryer, microwave, whatever you need from that type of appliance perspective. Yeah, you could call us or book an appointment online, and we will send you a confirmation email. You'll get a text with a picture of your repair technician when they're on their way, and so you'll know who is coming to your house, and they'll show up at your front door, put a Mr. Appliance doormat, put shoe covers on, just to show that we really respect and appreciate your home and letting us come in to help you get it fixed. So. Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought that last part up, because it's in some of the technology and some of the separation between, and in this industry, there's no other big competition, right? And kind of national, it's just, Billy Bob and his beat up pickup truck, and he may show up today, he may show up tomorrow. We don't really know when, right? Just that very high level customer service that you're bringing with Mr. Appliance, right? And again, kind of all of Neighborly that rolls pretty true. The wrapped pretty vehicle, all this stuff. So, what is something? I'll let you guys both kind of have an answer to this. Somebody is sitting out there right now listening, and they're like, well, I don't know, is franchising for me or not? Kind of the same space you guys were, year and a half ago as you first started thinking about this. What's a piece of advice that you would give somebody that's not sure if they should even explore this or not?
Wow.
I love when people they're not sure what their answer is, then they defer to the other person. So exactly. Logan was really quick. Here you go, honey.
No, I just didn't want to steal her answer. I wanted her to give an opportunity to go.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. And see, Ashtin, wait, what are you holding there, Logan?
Well, this is a fancy franchising 360 show, Logan.
Franchising 360 show. What is that? Tell me more.
It's a show about franchising, and fun fact, I think I was the first viewer question on the show. So that's why I have this fancy mug here.
You were there we go. So yeah,
matching set.
Thanks for the plug for the Franchising 360 show every Friday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on Biz TV. So co-hosted with me and my better half as well. So I'm used to the dynamic of getting bossed around personally and professionally. So
we watched the Franchising 360 show with margaritas in these looks. There's no margaritas today.
Yeah, and hey, the first few episodes you needed a margarita to get through it. We've gotten a little bit better, but we had a couple weeks back from when this podcast is dropping, Vice President of Franchise Development Trent Huey was in studio. We had him last week on the podcast, so we've had a whole crap ton of Neighborly here on the TV show and the podcast lately. So So Ashtin, I've given you a little time to kind of work through something.
Yes.
Let me see what I did for you. So
thank you. I appreciate it.
Since he totally threw you under the bus, what's that piece of advice you would share with folks?
I think learning just kind of in general what franchising is, either by listening to podcasts or reading the books or something. I didn't read the books that Logan did, but he did send me different episodes of podcasts, a couple of yours actually. to listen so I could just understand like what is franchising, to understand that aspect of it. I think if you get a general idea and then reaching out to a consultant such as yourself to help you walk through that process. I feel like if you go in that and you're just trying to go in blind, you don't really know as much. But I feel like having those conversations with you was helpful for us to decide, is this something we really do want to do, before we sign on the dotted line or anything like that. And so having somebody that's knowledgeable in the area, you wouldn't go do something without somebody that's knowledgeable, on your own. So why do it for a business? So
Right.
Looking for somebody that can help and guide you through the process.
Love it. Okay, Logan, did she steal your answer, or you got something?
No,
you got something better?
We're good. We're good. No, I think my advice would be to have an idea of what you kind of want out of your business, not necessarily what you want to do or what the business is. And I think that was a big part of the initial conversation with you, was just like, what do we want? What do you want your day-to-day to look like? And like, and so I think that was huge for us, knowing that. And we had a little bit of an idea, but we also had an open mind. So I think that's helpful on like, okay, I want generally this area, but I'm open to this. And then Tim's not paying me to say this, but I think like having someone who's familiar with all the different companies that can tell you like, hey, what they're telling you, like I've worked with other people that have worked here, it's legit. Like, and I mean, I think you're a part-time psychologist, because I think we had a couple of phone calls with you where you kind of talked us off the ledge, like, hey, this is normal, or like, this is like not that big a deal, we can do this. So just like having someone who's gone through the process before and is an expert in it, to just let you know what is real, like what you should really be focusing on, like what matters, and kind of the questions to ask and good next steps, and keeping you on track. That was huge for us in going through this process. So.
Yeah. And you mentioned that day in the life thing is really key. And you mentioned the open mind thing, which if you could say that a little louder for the people in the back, because that is that is the biggest thing, because you guys were somewhat locked in as far as like home service, right? And sometimes people are all over the board, which is fine. So you guys had it narrowed a bit, but gosh, there's 40 some different niches within home service. And then when you really break it down, enhance, maintain, repair, how that kind of falls back on everything else. So you guys were super open, because I know you guys didn't come in on our very first call and like, hey, Jim, we want an appliance repair franchise. What do you got? Right? Like most people don't know that's a thing. And so again, that open mind to this was huge. So again, kudos to you guys for that, for sure. But we're super excited to see you guys, and really no pressure, but next year at the annual neighborly conference where they're doing Mr. Appliance stuff, like I'm kind of hoping you guys are up on the podium there somewhere for like rookie of the year and all that stuff. But so no pressure, but
yeah. Well, that's the goal. That's the goal, right? We get into that start, we keep it growing.
Yeah, so. No. And again, as always saying, like you talked about the dreaded ledge is there. It's probably 50-50 whether I'm going to pull you off the ledge or push you, right? So there'll be some times as you guys are just getting rolling with your business, like it's not all rainbows and unicorns. There's going to be bad stuff, but I know you guys are going to be excellent at following the plan. The most important thing, you're going to work your butts off, and you can figure things out. And when in doubt, Logan, listen to your wife, and things will be just fine. So the Mr. Appliance, we're in the Dallas area. We're in it's the wonderful HEB, which again is what?
First U.S. Bedford.
Not the grocery store HEB.
Right. Correct.
Okay.
Well,
so
that's grocery store. So she's happy that
HEB grocery store in the HEB DFW area.
Yes, it's like that's more of like a Southern Texas thing, right? So
it's slowly growing up this way. We're getting some now, though.
Excellent. So, well, cool. Guys, thank you so much for spending some time with me today to chat about your journey. Again, it's been an absolute pleasure being a part of it. So thank you for allowing me to tag along with you guys. And I can't wait to see how all the success that you're having as a Mr. Appliance owner. So thanks so much.
Thanks, Tim.
We appreciate your help and guidance through the whole thing.
My pleasure.
We appreciate it.
Thanks again to Logan and Ashtin Smith, now Mr. Appliance owners in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Technically, Hewless something and something, HEB. What's the H? Hearst, Euless and Bedford. There we go. Got it. So thanks to them for joining us today. And as always, I hope these episodes provide some insight into the amazing possibilities and just how attainable franchise ownership really can be. Couple quick reminders. We have some this week's episode of the Franchising 360 show, and cool for them popping in the mugs for a little promo there. But it's mid-April. This is the time when we have FDDs that start going, quote, dark. On our Franchising 360 show tomorrow, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, or Fridays, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on Biz TV, we have a franchise attorney coming in to talk to us a little bit about that. We also have that coming up here next week, I think. Could be the week after, so don't quote me on that. Again, preparation is overrated. So we definitely want to kind of refresh everybody on the FDD and what the renewal process is like. So check that out on Biz TV. All of our stuff is now on our new and improved, super fancy and pretty YouTube channel for Fran Coach. So check that out. And then when you're ready to learn a little bit more and see if franchise ownership is right for you, reach out to our team at Fran Coach. FranCoach.net is where you're going to find me and all of our amazing team there to help you. There's never any fee for our service. So what are you waiting for? Reach out today so we can help you create your better tomorrow. Until next week, we'll see you then.